All right, guys, you might have noticed that I uploaded a new book. It's called The Guidebook to Higher Consciousness. And I can't believe I haven't seen this book before. It was introduced to me a couple weeks ago, and I loved it so much that I used AI to make a recording of it and put it on the channel. So check that out. What I'm going to be doing now for the next few days is I'm going to put together a series that goes through the 12 pathways to higher consciousness, because I think they're incredibly useful. And hopefully you can use them as you go through your day, and you think of, like, today I'm going to talk about the first pathway, and you can just think about it as you're going through your day and see if there's ways where you're trapping yourself rather than freeing yourself. And there's 12 of them total, so I'll make this into a playlist and a series. Okay, so the 12 pathways to higher consciousness. Number one is, I am freeing myself from security, sensations, and power addictions that make me try to forcefully control situations in my life, and thus destroy my serenity and keep me from loving myself and others. That's a lot, right? And if you notice those three things that are mentioned, he talks about security, that's the first chakra, sensations, that's the second chakra, and power, that's the third chakra. And he doesn't even bring up chakras because back in the 70s when he wrote the book, people couldn't understand energy or couldn't accept energy. They thought it was all woo-woo. And there is a lot of woo-woo in the energy world and the chakra world, and I don't talk about them a lot, but the truth is that you do raise your consciousness through those. Like, you could just think, for simple, like a caveman was forced to survive by not getting eaten by the tiger, so he's in the first chakra. Second chakra is like sexual, like you have desires, desire to be loved, desire for sex, desire for food, desire for feeling a certain way, desire for experiences. And then the third one is power, when you start to see how the outside world works and you start to manipulate it, like through capitalism and things like that. Capitalism can be done in a non-manipulative way, but it's actually pretty hard to do. And so most people move between the second and third chakra, and you look at people that we call successful in the world, and I always use Grant Cardone. I'm sorry if you guys don't know who he is, but it's just an example of someone he's just dominated the third chakra of power. I mean, he makes billions of dollars a year, has jets, has influence, has multiple buildings, he has whatever. That's the power. And the problem with these three centers is there's never enough. First of all, they're lower consciousness, so you have to move out of those into the next center, which is the heart, to begin to raise your consciousness. And when you can't do that because you're drawn in by the desires for sensations, you're drawn in by the fear. Fear is in the first chakra too, guys. Like, desire for security, like, I have to do this or I won't have money. Like, that whole thought process. We went through that yesterday in my video when I let go of some of that stuff. And then eventually you get to power, and the more of it you get, it's the same thing, chasing the carrot, putting out another maze in front of you. The more you get, it's just never enough. So that's the problem with the three lower chakras. They served us to get to survive, but we're no longer caveman. Like, if you want to raise your consciousness, it does move up into the heart. And moving from the third to fourth chakra is the majority of the process of enlightenment or liberation. It does take quite a bit longer. I shouldn't put that on you, but it's a bigger process than people realize. You can be in your heart, throughout the day, but to truly live up in the heart is something that I've yet to master, to be honest with you. And the closer I get to it, the more beautiful my life becomes, the more open I am, the more I see the true namaste in other people's eyes. I truly see them, and I realize that everybody here is just trying to live out their best life, and you don't feel, you're not offended easily. Like, everything starts to shift. So that's the big shift between the third and fourth energy center. And what this is saying is you're freeing yourself from these addictions. So what is an addiction in these three lower centers? I mean, it could be something as simple as an addiction to drugs or alcohol or ice cream or things that are hurting you, right? Obviously, everything in moderation makes it okay, but things that hurt you, you're addicted to. But we think of addictions in terms of usually the big things like porn addiction or sex addiction or alcoholism or drug addiction. But I want you to think about this in a much more subtle way. Like, those are macro, those are gross things, like big things that we think of commonly, but subtly, like, what is it that doesn't allow you to sit on the couch and just be? What is keeping you from being this? What is keeping you from presence? It's that addiction. Oh, I got to check my phone. Addiction to likes, right? That's a sensation, a desire, a dopamine hit from checking your social media. So these are the things that none of these things are bad, by the way. I'm not telling you it's wrong to like sex, or I'm not telling you it's wrong to have a drink of alcohol. Maybe it is for you, maybe it isn't, whatever. What I'm telling you is that these things never, ever allow you to evolve forward. And if you can recognize your addiction, and here's the key, switch it from an addiction to a preference. Sure, I prefer it when my post gets 100 likes, but I'm not addicted to it. I'm not picking up my phone and checking my social media. And you guys know I deleted my social media because it was just too much of a distraction to my evolution to higher consciousness. But that's my personal choice. I'm not telling you any of these things are bad. What I want you to do is drop into the subtleness of your being during the day and realize, like, okay, I'm at peace, I'm fully present, like, just totally chill. And then all of a sudden you're like, I gotta do this, I gotta do that. I feel like, why isn't this happening? How come she didn't call me? How come that email never came in? Why are they charging me for this? Like you lose that peace and you have addictions. And these addictions all have to do with control, trying to control the external world. And that's the opposite of raising your consciousness. If there's something that needs to be done, by all means do it. But to sit there and think about the past and the present, or the past and the future, and trying to like, why did that happen? Okay, I'm gonna have to do this. Like that takes you out of the present moment, which that's where all your true power is. And that's what enables you to actually raise your consciousness. So the whole point of this first pathway, I'll read it one more time. I am freeing myself from security, sensations, and power addictions that make me try to forcefully control situations in my life, and thus destroy my serenity and keep me from loving myself and others. The whole point of this is to realize, with your awareness being high, the subtle anxieties you feel when you're not able to control someone. A lot of times it's other people. It might be your significant other. Oh, she's doing that again. Or why does he do that? Like you're just trying to control, and if you let go, the funny thing is the more you try to control it, the more they do it, or they resentfully do what you ask, and then that builds more problems for later. The more you let go of it, the more it actually frees it, and you'll notice that the person will stop doing it because you show them love, right? Everybody's just crying for love, no matter what action they're doing, all the way to people that are doing horrendous things to people that are just causing problems. Everybody's just trying their best to realize who they are and understand and find love and find the grace of their true beingness. Like that's what everybody's trying to do. People have higher levels of consciousness of doing it and lower levels of consciousness of doing it, but we're all the same. And all these things that we see other people doing, if you're honest with yourself, you've either done it or thought about doing it as well. So having compassion and allowing that person the grace to follow what they want to do and giving them love is actually what makes them raise their consciousness and stop doing the things that are possibly harmful. So subtlety and awareness of when you get slight anxiety or slight, like, you got to control something, you got to change something, there's something wrong. The world is presenting to me in a way that is not how I like it. That's the lower centers, okay? That's control. Let go. And it's scary to let go because you're like, if I let go, man, this whole train's gonna crash. Actually, you're right, it does crash, and then something much more beautiful comes out of the wreckage. And that is the dark night of the soul that possibly you could go through. That is the falseness of you dying, and what actually comes out is the truth, which is effortless. The whole point of this is that trying to control is you putting your hands metaphorically or metaphysically out on everything, like, oh, it needs to be this way, oh, I don't want her to talk to me that way, or I can't believe that this, and you're controlling everything, and that is draining your life force out of you. When you finally let go of it, and then all that energy you were putting outward comes back into you, that's when you find that you can rise up to the higher energy centers and really raise your consciousness. And this is all about higher consciousness. Higher consciousness, guys, is the only solution to every problem in the world. It's the only thing that works. It's turning inward, letting go of resistance. This is all resistance too. Control, resistance, it's the same exact thing. And to let go of all that is to free up. Imagine you're like Spider-Man and you're shooting these little webs out. You're like, I gotta control this. Okay, I got my eyes on that. Make sure that doesn't do what I don't want it to do. I got my eyes on this. What you're doing is you're taking your pie of energy and you're giving little slices, all external, and tying it to the past and the future. And meanwhile, you've got this little tiny piece of crumb left for you. And you can't raise your consciousness when you have that. So bringing those webs, cut those webs, let go. And focus today. I'll read it one more time on the first pathway to higher consciousness. I am freeing myself from security, first chakra, sensations, second chakra, and power, third chakra, addictions that make me try to forcefully control situations in my life. And what does that cause? Thus destroying my serenity, and they keep me from loving myself and others. It's beautiful if you get it. If you don't, you're probably on the wrong channel. But love you anyways. All right, guys. I'll do some more of these, and I'll put them into a playlist. Have a blessed day.